Okay, it's happening.
Good.
Yeah.
Let me get some water,
Yeah, get some water.
and let's see what we can do. Great. I don't even need these.
Nope,
Listen, I can
you
hear you.
don't. Good. Wonderful.
What I do is just record it and then transfer it to my editing program, and just put whatever you want on there. If you have a screenshot or something like that, you can email it to me
Sure.
later. Something about you that
Yeah.
links or a little. I just do little photographs. I don't do fancy graphics.
Yeah, I've got this photo you could probably use.
Yeah, that's great. And if you got any, if you got your info, if you want that on there, your tinfoilhatlady.com or whatever.
Yeah.
Wherever they can
But
find
it's
it.
backwards. But I could take a picture of this and send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And then you'll have it. Yeah, my tinfoil hat is friggin' falling apart.
How many have you made through the years?
This is the one. This is it.
Really?
This is it. Yeah. See, I took a crochet rainbow beach hat. It's very floppy rainbow beach hat, and I just put tinfoil on it. This is the same hat. I've added some tinfoil onto it, but this is the same hat. And I have other hats, but some of them aren't as politically correct as others. So.
I'm sorry, no MAGA hats yet.
No MAGA hats.
Okay.
I think I had a.
Actually, go ahead if you really want to.
I don't think you need to go there. I could make a tinfoil, but this is probably the more popular hat.
Wow.
More popular.
That's pretty cool.
That's sort of where the other side's at. So anyway, there you go. I also had another one for you, but it's in the other room anyway.
I got it. Hey, I got to do one thing. It'll take me 3 minutes.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
Just hang out and then we'll start up. I'll be right back.
I'm just going to pause my recording on my side.
Go pee.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I'm hitting record. Doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. Make sure I have the F word in there.
Yeah. Just for extra bonus points.
Beata's like, wait a minute.
What am I getting?
Am I sure about this? I don't want to do this.
Not sure.
So,
all good.
Full spectrum humans.
Yeah.
Is something I heard a few years ago from my own inner crazy voices. I talk to voices. Good for you, Tobias. So I'll give it a rubric of full spectrum humans.
Are we split?
Yes.
Okay, good. So full spectrum human, are you talking everything?
Yeah. Like all the chakras activated and vibrating.
Okay.
That's the idea. Like we're full spectrum. Instead of I'm stuck in my head.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm good at this, or I'm really good at feelings, but I don't know how to think. I think really well, but I suppress all my feelings. I'm really good sexually. I'm really healed, but I'm really screwed up about my self-image. So all this sort of, we're not firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. I heard one the other day that an explanation of somebody not caring about facts or logic, because she was saying that feelings are closer to spirit than facts or logic. And the way I look at the information path, no, because to me feelings are lower.
Watch your mic. Yeah. Watch your mic. Your mic is rubbing against your
my mic is mic rub.
There you go.
That's better?
You don't hear it, but they will go, God,
Thank
that's
you.
annoying.
So I don't want to be annoying yet. Not right off the bat.
Right. We already are. You guys aren't acting very seriously. All right. Yes, exactly. Serious. So the idea for me was, instead of being a yogi and really good at higher dimensional third eye and opening your chakras up here, or here. So God showed me years ago, a spirit. We've kind of gone upper chakra beings in on earth and lower or first three. It's not a pejorative. We say lower.
No.
Everyone thinks that's lower. Yeah.
Yeah, I say like that. Those are the physical, and these are
Mhm.
just the spiritual. Or even in my new theory, the
Mhm.
lower are the feminine aspects, and the upper
Mhm.
are masculine aspects.
Exactly. So today we want to let Beata share. She has some beautiful insight on that, on the Full Spectrum podcast, whatever you want to call what we do, what I'm going to start
Yeah,
doing with people. So you're my first guest doing this, which I love. Love it.
there I am, first guest.
Yeah. So
Yeah, thank you.
the interest is, how do we get away from one lifetime we're a beautiful yogi and we learn to transcend and dissolve our body into 2 inches of black coal and we attain the rainbow body, and then other lifetimes we're fucking pirates and drinking and ravaging and raping and pillaging, and or we're a dark witch, we're a light witch, power, we're love, we're Mother Mary versus, I don't know, Cruella de Vil or something. So the
Yeah,
schizophrenia. So the full spectrum human I'm interested in, and it feels like what we're trying to do, maybe that's why we're having so much trouble on earth,
yeah,
to go, how can we be all of it integrated?
yeah.
And so that's the main thing. That's what I'm interested in. And I loved what you chatted about. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, the first thing that I think is important for people to understand is like you're going to incarnate into all of that stuff. Like you have to have all those polarity experiences, I think, before you can actually have a lifetime where you can sort of inhabit yourself fully. Because
Makes
then
sense.
you've experienced, from the a consciousness of an algae all the way to a human being, a highly functioning human being, you would hope, or maybe even an ET, but then you're somewhere else. So
What's wrong with algae? Damn it. I've
no,
been
they're good.
triggered.
They're good.
You just triggered the algae. We're going to get letters from algae now. Anyway, go ahead.
All the way from them. I started with them. Yeah, no, it's important. That's a building block, right? So you have to experience all the building blocks. But one of the things that I learned years ago from a book called Wheels of Light by Rosalind L. Bruyere, I think it's out of print now, is that information path through the chakras. Because I didn't really understand, like, what's a chakra? Like, it was all nebulous. I thought they were like colored dots. Like I didn't really understand that they are actually a mechanism.
Mm.
Push and pull. They're back-to-back vortices, actually. And they're pushing and pulling environmental data, that you're processing data from the environment up through this beautiful tree of life that you inhabit. And then you're rerouting, new concepts and information for other people to pick up on at a higher frequency. So that I realized, oh, well, if I'm just following that and allowing that pathway, then that's really all I have to do. And the other part of it is people don't realize that they have more than a physical body, because we get so hung up in the material world that we identify with our meat of ourselves, and we don't think of the 3 subtle bodies. And the back-to-back vortexes of the chakras are actually sewing those subtle bodies, which are the emotional body and the mental body and the spiritual body, to the physical bodies. And they sew it to the physical body right at the glands and the nerve plexus in the physical body.
Show a visual. So let's say
Okay.
you're looking at your heart or your belly. So it's like a trumpet vortex coming in and one coming out the back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have a little diagram here. So it's like, see the back-to-back vortexes. So the root and
That's
then
what
the
looks like the triangles. That looks like the triangles, kind of.
yeah.
Yeah, the black triangles, but they're touching each other like that.
Exactly. And if you look at this one, this is the male and female body, if that's still allowed. That's how I'm going to present it.
No.
But okay, here are human bodies, and you can see that the chakra points are, again, connected to the nerves and the glands. So the nerve plexus and the glands are the root of those vortexes, and they're shooting out the front, and they're turning.
Wow.
And what happens is, if they're not, functioning and pulling that up, and we have conscious control over whether that happens or not. We can stop that process of the information path anytime we want. For example, you can douse somebody with a pendulum and figure out, if their chakras are turning or whatever. But the point is the information path itself, which is written down in words here, right?
Okay.
So
the number 1 is the Muladhara, or the root chakra.
the root, and that's the first concept. So our
Mm.
environmental data, what's the concept I'm receiving right now? Like, what is it? And it can be anything that you encounter, right? An idea, a physical situation, anything. So this is very simple map, but it was helpful to me, and it's been helpful to other people. So this is why I really want to share it. And that root chakra, the concept, is connected with our physical body. Okay. Now it goes up and it comes out the front. See that it goes like.
I'm gonna want you to slow down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna want to do this for a sec because I do this with people on my webcast too.
Yeah.
So just anyone out there, if you're listening to this, feel your body now because we're going to give you information, but also just take a breath in through your nose and let it out slowly through your mouth. And you settle down and you settle in. You can feel the soles of your feet. Feel the back of your legs, your sciatic nerve, the big, and feel your root chakra, which is your bottom gate, your pelvic bottom, we call it. We have all these words for it. The mula, nobody knows what that is. Asshole is too crude. Your perineum is too clinical. Blah blah blah. Anyway, you know what it is.
It's red.
It's red. Okay.
Think red. Think red.
And feel it and relax.
Mm-hmm.
The word asana in Sanskrit, which Sanskrit clean script. San means the truth and it means cleaning. Sanskrit.
Okay.
Asana literally means your ass onto the ground. No, I'm kidding. But that's true. It means also comfortable seat. When we're not comfortably seated, it's colitis, it's irritable bowel,
it's dis-ease. We're not easy.
Restless leg syndrome and all that. So while Beata's going to show you or talk about this, also just feel your spinal column and the whole column, like from the tip of your head. If you want to imbibe it, pull it into you, and let your body go, yay, that's what I've been trying. Please notice this is what I'm like. So you can do that. You take a breath.
Yeah.
Pulls it up. And on the out breath, it goes down to the bottom of your feet. And then you become centered. You can do this anywhere, anytime.
And it's like that one full conscious breath meditation that you teach too.
That's exactly it.
Very lovely.
Participants, not just irritable bowel students writing things down in notebooks. Sorry.
Participation,
all right,
participation. So they participated.
Participation, exactly.
Yeah. So once the root is activated there, it's going to spit it back out the front, and then the belly chakra, if it's functioning properly, it's going to pull it in.
Cool.
Right? So that's the first.
Do you have that diagram?
It's the first input center.
So point with your finger. Can you point it with your finger?
So the energy is coming up into the root.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then it shoots out and then, comes in the belly. So we have the concept in the root, and then we have the first feeling. The first feeling. Like, that's the emotional body. So that's the hook into the first subtle body. So it's moved now out of the physical root, and it's now we've pulled it into our emotional belly.
So there's your root chakra, and let's say this, you're facing that way. So it comes out, and then I loved how you described it turns into a snake like that. That makes
exactly
sense about Kundalini. Yeah,
that's exactly this. It's the push and pull of this environmental data that you are processing. This is how you maneuver. This is the information that, you're decoding the hologram with this, right? Yeah. So that first feeling in the gut, and in vibrational levels of consciousness, the root is 1 to 7, which is plants. The belly is the animal instinct, 7 to 14. I got that from Robert Monroe's Journeys Out of Body, right? So root, 1 to 7 different frequencies in each of these vibrational levels of consciousness. So I guess LJ to Venus flytrap for the root, and then the animal instinct and emotion in the gut. And the first subtle body is now sewn in with this connection to the physical body.
What I'm seeing, and probably because maybe you've been part of it this lifetime, other lifetimes, whatever, I'm seeing the undulation, which is belly dancing.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing belly dancers imbibing, tasting, participating, merging. You're eating the situation
Yes.
around you with your whole column instead of just your head.
Oh, yes.
You're eating,
Oh my
you're
goodness.
in flowing, outflowing with the situation, so you get input from all your chakras that correctly then interpret what the situation is, where you are. That's
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then that color is orange.
Mm,
The belly is orange.
mm,
And of course, we're activating with the primary colors. But if you want to cool a chakra down, you always use the opposite color on the color wheel.
mm,
So the opposite of the orange would be the blue, right? So you just have to look at your color wheel and figure it out. Yeah, or you look at your own chakras and figure it out. So then that's the emotional body. And emotions are meant to move quickly through, like they're information, like, energy in motion, the emotion. But we
right.
tend to really hold on to that sometimes. And so in the belly, we get, a lot of stuff. And it's also our gut instinct. So that fight or flight thing happens down there too, right? Because that's our animal instinct. So that's the first feeling. Now we have a second feeling coming up, but
So when we block the
yeah,
emotion, energy in motion, which is this
yeah,
uprising, which has traditionally been shown with the Ida and the Pingala sort of head on, but
yeah,
you're showing us, imagine the snake coming at you and back in and
yeah,
like this
exactly.
way.
I think of
And
it
actually,
sideways.
yeah, it probably spirals as well.
No doubt.
Yeah,
This is very simple,
right.
just to give them a two-dimensional sort of, just understanding. And it gets you an understanding of the input centers. Because we always, we put our hand on our belly
Oh.
for a reason, because we're blocking that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we put our hand on our heart because that's another input center. Or we put our hand here because that's, or we do both, and we do that, because we want to block that input because of.
And when we clean out, then emotions are very, like, in some graphics we see it sometimes like a snake, or on your windshield when it rains, when one droplet hits another and it gets big enough, it goes, it
Yeah,
goes to the bottom very quickly. And
yeah,
so in the no time space, when we're fully open and non-blocked, things are very rapid or outside of time, and we get the information percolating, uprising, or downloading in our system, and it goes, and we get all that instantly. There's no need for dissection. I love that.
yeah, yeah. And we are basically dissecting this. Like I have a talk called the Holy Human, WHOL. This is one system, but we breaking it up, just to teach it. Like think of, okay, so the belly chakra is orange, the root is red, belly chakra is orange, the solar plexus is the yellow. But how do we get the orange? It's the blending of the red laying over the yellow. See, so they're all together. It's like if you take a red crayon and then a yellow crayon and you do the Vesica Piscis and the two little circles, you're going to get the orange in the middle. So all three of them work together to develop the whole, right? So that's another way to look at it. So once it comes into the belly, then it's, there's the kidneys right in the back there, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if that solar plexus isn't functional to pull it in, then we're going to have emotional pissed offness, and kidneys could be affected there, right? But what happens is, okay, so it goes to the back, it comes out the solar plexus, and that's where the mental body is. So that's the right, that's the ego, the intellect, the bright sun, the dantian is down there, right? But the solar plexus is the yellow. And I almost sometimes think, I try not to be anti-solar plexus because I kind of like the solar plexus, but I also think it's kind of like Satan.
Why?
It's kind of like Satan because
Why?
it thinks it's so bloody smart, and it's the ruler of the physical.
Ooh, Lucifer, the light bearer.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there's something in there for me. I'm not sure, but it's where our intellect is. It's where our will is. It's where our cleverness is, but not really where our wisdom sits.
Let me confess then, because this is what I want to share too. So I have, of course, total sun in my whole Tiamat, the theme of my life. I'm born on the winter solstice.
Right.
When it comes back, I live in a little town north of Stockholm, a suburb called Solna. SOLNA. And its shield is the blue background, the Swedish colors with a beautiful yellow. I've got the sunflower sitting over here. My book's called Listening to the Sun.
I know.
And just lately I've been in touch with, I remember having a client years ago that I took out to the Sedona native ruins. It was an 80-year-old lady, reincarnated little, she was like, obviously lived in the native tribes before. Friend who was a very psychic, intellectual sort of mathematician. But during lunch, I could tell, she says, "Stop doing that, Tobias." And I said, "What?" "You're blasting me with your solar plexus." And I'm like, what's wrong with that? I'm trying to be nice, right?
Okay, we'll try to be nice, right? So this is something I skipped over.
Mm-hmm.
Because sympathy is in the belly, empathy is in the solar plexus.
Mm.
Yeah, and sympathy and empathy are not our highest tools.
But I've become aware of that my wanting to do well, to do good, to share, to teach, to help, save the planet, all that. It's too much blasting of the sun.
It's the will.
It's too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's forcing people to see things. It's true. Mm-hmm. The sun is true. You can't tell it to shut off.
No.
But sometimes you're like, hey, I need a break. I need some nighttime.
Yeah.
I need some dark. I need some nothing. I need the empty womb, the pregnant point of nothing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm just becoming aware. That makes sense that you said that.
Well, you're so empathetic. Mm-hmm. Like, that's why you care.
But it can be controlling too.
Of course. Yeah. Because there's an exhaustion and there's a confusion about whose problem it really is.
I had kidney problems last year.
Just saying.
Too much pushing this out and draining the back. Yes? Mm-hmm. I get it. Keep your stuff for yourself, Tobias. Keep your hands to yourself.
What my friend Jade says, which you should have her on one time, she says, mind your own vibration.
Yeah.
And stay in your lane. Mm-hmm. And she just told me something this afternoon. It was so beautiful about her relationship, where she wanted her husband to come and watch Heal, the new thing on Netflix.
We just watched it last night.
Yeah, she wanted her husband to come, but she didn't want to come down here and do this with me, So she just sat and she just said, I'm going to watch it no matter what. And he's invitation is open for him to come downstairs and be with me. 5 minutes later, he shows up. What are you doing? I'm watching this. Great, let's do it. She couldn't believe it. And he his mind was blown because he didn't, he hadn't been exposed to some of this stuff. And then she realized how much research she had actually done. And it was so wonderful for, her husband to kind of catch up in a way, and she did it by minding her own vibration. I was really impressed with that.
It's huge for me. And not saying that that what we did before was wrong. When you're a warrior for truth and you're disseminating, like the sun, disseminating light and info, it has its place. There's a time to be quiet, for the sun to take a break.
When I was tinfoil hat lady at first, and I went in front of my city hall with my hat on 9/11 at the cenotaph, and the security guard came out and he said, they're right in there right now having a meeting to try to decide whether or not to ask you to leave. And I said, well, that's very Canadian of them, but I'm going to be here till 2:00 and you just go back and tell them not to worry. I'm not going to do anything illegal or whatever. But, I had a lot of energy, to do that. And it took a lot of energy to go every year and do that. I don't do it anymore, but yeah, I understand what you mean. And that's the solar plexus. That's our mental body. And that's the highest reward in society. That's as high as society wants you to get is the solar plexus.
Willpower.
Yes.
Kind of making things happen, pushing.
Cleverness. I'm so smart in business. Look how I fucked you over. What I mean? Stuff like that, all that kind of Wall Street sort of.
Yeah, it's like our system does not want to go the next step to the heart.
No. And in fact, they drive our empathy and sympathy with a narrative to keep us down here.
Yeah. So
it's pretty obvious. And the next thing then is that it shoots out the solar plexus, and then if the heart is functioning correctly, it's going to pull it in.
Right.
It's going to come in. And to me, that's where the masculine and the feminine now merge. And that connects your spiritual body to your physical body. So that's the least dense and most highest frequency body, spiritual body.
Mm.
Now you have your bridge. And to me, it's like, those statues of Jesus, or even in India, the deities are like this.
Yeah,
So as
both. They're
above, so
like
below,
this.
right? It's the
Yeah.
pathway. And then the Catholic Jesus with the flaming heart, right? Well, what's burning away in the heart is that ego
Mm.
from the solar plexus. And now, we didn't say what the solar plexus was. Solar plexus is opinion. Okay, so we got the concept, the first feeling, and then opinion
Ah,
in the solar plexus, right? So that's intellectual. You got that?
wow. Well, you're hitting on the one sessions I've been doing lately for myself because I had to survive after
And
20.
thank you for still being here.
After 20, you sure? I don't know.
Yes, I should.
Get him out of here.
I should. No, not yet.
They've been telling me, the masters that helped me. Some of them are known, some aren't. But Jesus, Babaji, Saint Germain, the real ones. There's lots of fake channeling. The other day, like 2 sessions ago, my friend said, they want me to ask you what you think about opinion. So they won't teach me directly. They won't tell you directly. They will offer a thought idea. And I'm like, well, lately I've been able to feel all sides to things. It's really good practice with current politics to go, can I feel Elizabeth Warren's heart? She's so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And then can I feel, well, I don't know, Sebastian Gorka or somebody, or Sean Hannity? He feels sincere too.
Yeah.
Where's the common ground,
Yeah, exactly.
But it literally, I've been put into their point of view, like experiencing it from that point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the form no opinion, hold no opinions except temporarily, form no opinions. And that allows this to be fluid.
Yeah.
And keep going.
Yeah, and keep going. That's the point, right? You don't stop there, because I've doused depressed people before. Mm-hmm. And what happens at the solar plexus, it's completely flat.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no spin. So there's no access up to the spiritual. And so they're stuck in the physical, in the mental body. So and opinion.
Yes. So holding an opinion locks you into a worldview.
Yes.
A Weltanschauung, a certain point of viewing. Mm-hmm. And masters, I cannot find them seriously holding on to any permanent point of view in the 3D or the 4D or the 5D.
Right.
They might be something like unconditional love, but that's not an opinion. It's not flipping anywhere. It's just holding space for us. I can't get. That's why a master, you can't bring someone and go, agree with me, Master Jesus, this person is horrible. They won't do it.
No.
Because they feel the big beyond opinions, beyond views, beyond
the whole creation.
Yeah. Beyond the beliefs. I remember when God showed me that. Be the lie and you get an F. Belief.
I know. That was a good one.
Yeah. Be the lie, you get an F. Anyway, you're hitting on things that are very accurate and apropos and timely for me.
Beautiful. So then we move from the mental body to the heart, and that's where our last subtle body is connected to the physical. And that is our second feeling. So the belly has our first feeling, and then that heart is what I call the second sober thought, or like the senate of the body. So how many people are not accessing that? They're using their animal gut instinct all the time and not engaging that second feeling. And that's what lets you off the hook. That's what brings you, that's what uplifts you. And that's compassion.
The wise heart.
Yeah, exactly. That's
the wise heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been asking for you.
Yeah. And the chakra has 2 colors, pink for the healing heart and green for the healed heart. So that was something that came to me very strangely when I first was young and finding out about this stuff. My girlfriend was making first I was compelled to paint my whole apartment pink. To Nina Cherry's CD, I remember just painting the whole apartment pink, thinking, why am I doing this? Then I went to my girlfriend's house in another city. She's making all this rose quartz jewelry. So, look at this beautiful necklace. I put this rose quartz necklace on. Oh, that feels really good, I said. Wow. She said, well, yeah, it's rose quartz. Well, I was like, what? Why? What? She goes, yeah, it's rose quartz. It's totally for your heart chakra, and you'll be healing your heart now. Your heart obviously needs healing. And I was like, wow, I guess that's why I painted my whole apartment pink. So I
Mm.
wore this thing, then I started to study more, learning about the chakras and stuff. And it went almost clear, this piece of rose quartz, to the
Wow.
point where then I watched a soap opera then called Young and the Restless. And there's a character in there named Victor Newman, and his office is this hunter green. And so I just got really in love with that hunter green. And so then I had to paint my whole apartment hunter green, so then I was like, okay, I'm good. I have succeeded at healing my heart, but it's a process.
Two things. Spirit will come to you from the most unexpected places. At one time in my life, I wasn't into this stuff. One of
Right.
my guides, Babaji, said, go read Captain Marvel from the comic book store. And I'm like,
Right.
What? That's not holy. That can't have
Yeah.
Captain Marvel. Well, as we all know, Marvel Universe, Avengers, Infinity War, all of those guys, and the ultimate cosmic superhero was Captain Marvel. So it was about eternity, infinity, creation,
Yeah.
dissolution, galaxies. I was like, this is a lot easier than all the scriptures. This tells it in pictures.
And also, isn't Marvel, can't you spell the word reveal? I always feel like when I see Marvel, I see reveal.
Ah.
For some reason, I always think of the word reveal when I see Marvel. But
So whether it's a soap opera or Captain Marvel, I'm telling you,
yeah,
it comes at us from everywhere.
I agree. Coronation Street too. Yeah. Because that's what I'm down to Coronation Street. Like that is like it. That's all I do. Coronation Street, and then YouTube videos. That's it.
There you go. Interesting.
A little bit of Netflix, a little bit of Gaia, but mostly that. Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense though? The
Yeah.
hologram is in everything, so everything will reflect the hologram.
Totally. That's totally perfect. That's exactly it. And
we all know
that's why everything is sacred. And you are a perfect microcosm of the geometry of the void, as Nassim Haramein would say, the vector matrix equilibrium. Well, you are a perfect cog. Like you're set into life perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
And I know we're starting to sound really new agey and spiritually getting ourselves high, but I want to point out, to actually realize these things and embody them and integrate them, you're going to detox shit from your body if you're a normal human.
Well, and you have to be conscious to do it. You have to be responsible, and we have to want to. You have to want to take the time to go, wait, what just happened there?
Yeah.
What did I just process? What am I not wanting to process?
And all these things that we've compacted that have become blocks, we used to call it the lust lock, the heart lock. These are like literally like cages or like splints that have put into your energy flow that block it, or it doesn't
or divert it,
steal the energy, the loosh, the feeding off of human souls is mostly going on the planet. Just imagine for a second,
wow,
if everyone was a Christ, which we are, if everyone's a piece of God, how much energy we have lost to end up where we're at now. Where did that energy go? Well, there's some happy feeders out there that are creating all kinds of blocks, guilt, piranhas, little, whatever you want to call them. Not all reptilians are bad. The angels that come in light. Why do you think the Pleiadians are back here? The Arcturians are back here. The Anunnaki are back here because they fucked up. They know they interfered with human progress. And a lot of us, I'm included, we're not from here originally, and we thought it would be fun to play around and be gods on Earth. And that's why we need to come back and clean it up. Really?
No, it's true. Well, the humans need a chance. They need a level playing field, and they just haven't had a level playing field. And now we should have one.
And maybe we tricked ourselves, or God, source of the universe, tricked us into incarnating as humans so that we would come out and say, fuck, we want to get out of this fucking hellhole. Yeah. So we're going to help expand and awaken and up vibrate again the compression that occurred here.
Well, also, all of our ascension is connected in a chain. So if we don't, we can't go. It doesn't, everybody's connected. So you can only go as fast as your slowest canoe, is what I'm trying to say. If you're
I agree partially with that. To have full 3D activation, yes. But we don't have to be held back either by whatever.
No.
I know. So a lot of these star people that are back here, they're not all nicey-nicey. They're here because they know on the Pleiades, they can't keep going unless they pick up the remnant of themselves they left back here.
Sure.
Which is a lot of, and I know when I meet Pleiadians, my mom's one of them. and she's more than that. But anyway, so I'm saying it's not easy. When you start cleaning these chakras that Beata is talking about this way, you're going to feel horrible shit. You're going to feel suicidal at times. You're going to feel this is waste of rage. Joy and I just had a huge trigger today. Why? Because she's finally cleaning out a guilt program that's ready to go. They're icky.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like, oh, that was a nice tea. We had a nice tea there just discussing our salon. That's not how it happens.
Oh, no. I mean, I just had to put my dog down on Monday morning, and you should have seen what came out of my solar plexus. Like, seriously, I was bruised on my solar plexus from trying to hang on to her. And I had to eventually just go, come on now. And I feel so much better. And so does she.
Yes. Beautiful.
So, yeah.
And so we're not advocating the happy, denial, avoid, joy, fake joy.
Oh, no.
Which was fine for a time, by the way.
Yes.
There's a right time when the 60s, the hippies introduced all these concepts, which is quite amazing.
Yeah. And that would be the pink. That would be the pink. Yeah, fluffy, nice. Yeah, sitting there looking good, but not really, moving forward. But it's like, yay, we found it. We found it. Let's heal it. So that's cool. Because everything happens the way it should, apparently. So then that spiritual body is another input center. Again, so it comes into the heart. And that's why sometimes, we take things in the gut and we take things in the heart. And so when people are communicating with us and they want to
feel stabbed or poked in the heart. We all know what that feels like. Someone betrays you, talks shit behind your back. It really hurts. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a practice of people will throw hooks at you, and do you take it in the belly? Do you take it in the solar plexus? The best place to take communications of any kind, whether they're thrown at you with malice or not, is in the heart. Because that's the highest frequency that you have. And so the difference between sympathy, empathy, and compassion comes down to, oh, poor you can't handle this. Let me take that from you. Or, oh, let me assure you I understand what's going on with you. This is terrible. Yes, I know I've had the same problem before. This is like, oh, I feel so sorry for you. How are you ever going to deal with this? To, I believe you got this. I know you can handle this. I believe in you. I believe in you. That's a whole different thing than being dragged down. That's again the thing of giving somebody a fish or teaching them to fish.
Overhelpers Anonymous. My name's Tobias. Yes, exactly. Of watching your loved ones, even if you know this concept of I can't save them, but watching someone that you're close with, hooked into, watch them have to go through it and not wanting to rush in to do their math homework for them,
Yeah, because then you're just taking their lessons away from them and you're distracting yourself from your own sovereignty.
Yeah.
And then that becomes a distraction from your journey.
I can't get God to agree with my bullshit. He doesn't go, oh, you're right. This is horrible.
Yeah, no.
Why don't you go to bed and I'll soothe you and feed you some opium. He doesn't do that.
No.
He's there if I really need it.
He says, I believe in you. You got this.
Right.
And that's the most angelic, highest frequency tool that we have, to use compassion with each other so that you're not getting invested too much in somebody's business. Right?
Plus, there's an automatic feedback, which is non-logical in a sense. I'm helping you, and then they're biting the hand that's trying to help them.
Of course, because they're going to want to pull you back. It's just like trying to save a drowning person, right? You don't go and grab, they'll drown you.
Yeah.
You give them
a
stick.
A lot of people that have been helpers, and then we go into over-helpers, because it's and this is the guru trap, I call it, where you're like, oh, I'm enlightened now. And then you start getting 50 or 100,000 people going, oh, you're enlightened. Can we hang around you? You get to feed off of it, but you don't have to deal with your own shit. It's this dance macabre, this weird cycle. And a lot of souls go through that. I know I've done it in other lifetimes. And this lifetime I was like, no, you have permission to knock me down and sit on me if that ever starts happening again, to myself.
To yourself, yeah.
I'm doing it myself. I realize it's my own commitment to myself.
Of course.
To not repeat that. But when you're learning these things, especially around, quote, good things. It's that fake knowledge of good and evil. But I'm such a good person. I care about them more than me.
I'm empathetic and sympathetic.
Yeah.
And
So this is very important to learn at many, many levels. My mission, my oath mission was to help people wake up, not to have a family, but, then God's like, all right, stop doing that. You're getting in the way. Or he says, you think you're more important than you really are. Really? And literally a few weeks ago, Spirit said, a council of the council, which is Sai Baba, Jesus is there, a bunch of other people, Babaji, Saint Germain, others that are unnamed. Lao Tzu shows up sometimes. And this is not fantasy. You can make it, but there's a lot of spirits that will do this with your head.
Yeah.
You become the latest channeler and you think you're doing good. And you need to live that out. And that sucks. The end product of that is usually cults storing guns in the basement in Montana, or you giving your power away. It's inappropriate. But the universe lets you do it. Ayahuasca, who's a goddess, she lets you do it.
Of course.
But people out of the dark black magic.
Yeah.
Free will? Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
But so realizing, I have to sit by and watch my child go through their troubles or finding their own power. Doesn't mean you're callous and leave them alone in the desert.
No.
But you watch from the window as they're learning to ride their bike.
Yeah.
And if they really get in trouble, you go out and help them. But you let them, it's a big lesson on many levels all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
the true compassion, real help. What's fruitful? Speak to us about that. What's actual help for people compared to wanting to overhelp, mother, fix versus allow? So,
well, it doesn't provide confidence. It doesn't build confidence. It doesn't allow somebody to be in their own lane and mind their own vibration, right? As my friend would say, it doesn't allow them to develop themselves fully because they feel codependent.
Yeah.
And then again, you're being drunk from, right? So empathy and sympathy, again, connected with the belly and the intellect, the mental body. So these are emotional body issues and mental body issues, but they're sanctioned in society as a politically correct way to respond. And I think that if people learned more about the spiritual body and compassion, it would feel a lot better. Like, they would feel the appropriateness of that as empowering another human instead of getting embroiled in drama with another human.
Get that spiritual correctness slime the fuck off of me.
Yeah.
Right? I always said spiritual correctness is worse than political correctness is obvious, but the spiritual correctness is like, the Dalai Lama is so holy. Yeah, really? Wait a minute. There might be some backside to that. We've seen some recent things in the news lately.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That there's always a backside. You're going to used to say the bigger the front, the bigger the back.
Exactly. And I always tell people guru means just how it's spelt. G, you are you.
Yep.
And that's it.
It's such freedom.
Yeah.
But it's an unaddicting process.
But, you could see how somebody could get ego involved, because if you have all these people that are vibing off your message, you could fall deeply like that. It's just like becoming a star in Hollywood or in anything like that, right? Or a politician even, where all of a sudden, you're getting so much attention, you believe your own hype, right? And you're never supposed to do that.
Once you start believing your PR reports, the end is near.
The end is near. So, okay, so we got to the heart, hey? Which is our second feeling and another input center. So what happens then is it'll bang between the shoulder blades if we don't open the throat. And so women a lot of times, so men will get indigestion. I mean, I'm just saying generally because they've had to do war over lifetime. So it's really hard to, kill somebody when you're feeling and thinking so much. So, sorry, not having compassion for your victim. Yeah. But so men have a trouble with that, the heart opening, but women have trouble with the throat opening because they're going to then get pain between the shoulder blades.
Comes in here and then it's going to come out the throat.
The throat, exactly.
Naturally. And if you don't do that.
Yeah, and that's your response, right? So that's blue, and that's your responsibility, your ability to respond. It's not react, which is a different thing. But also, it's the first phase of manifestation. and it's the fifth chakra, and 5 is always change. The fourth chakra, the heart, is stable, right? But now we're creating. Now we're creating in the hologram. We're in the spiritual chakras. We're up here. We've blended the masculine. We've got the feminine supporting us. We've blended with our masculine in the heart, and now we're creating. So I'm speaking to you. And when I'm speaking, I'm creating geometry, right? I'm creating a cymatic with my words. I'm creating a joyful noise onto the Lord. Or I'm contaminating my environment with my words, you know? So, yeah. So
feel it right now, guys. I see speech. Just imagine speech coming out with sacred geometries, shapes, platonic solids, building blocks of materia. That which builds materia comes from intention. I've seen how we used to speak into manifestation, sing them, and the rest of that is the Tibetans with open horns, floating blocks, or Saksayawamon,
exactly
the Egyptians. But when it's aligned with you, it's automatic manifestation. So let it be said. Abracadabra, so says me, sesame, open says me. That's all our, when it's aligned with heart, and especially with the rest of you, it has to manifest.
Exactly. As I speak, I create. As I speak, I create. So first phase of manifestation, and that's our response. It's really important to kick into that sacred responsibility because that is your contribution. Every time you speak, you're putting that out into the world, and it goes, and it goes, and it goes.
Co-creators. Everybody needs to say and be their part for this symphony of creation, and you can't just have a few people dictating to everyone else, shut up and do what I tell you. Then you get a very unbalanced, dissonant, harsh reality. Voila, our current system.
Exactly. And when people have verbal diarrhea, you know, because they're not balanced out, then you got to use the orange up there, right, to stop that, because people will have pressure of speech if they're not balanced and they're nervous and things like that. So that can also be a problem. The throat can be like a place too where things get stuck, right? So it's, again, for women, and for anybody really, anybody that has that timidity.
For the feminine aspect of creation, that whether that's a man trying to speak his feelings,
exactly,
or whatever.
Yes.
In our current last 300,000 years, it's been kind of shut down.
Yeah, and then women get trouble with their thyroid there a lot then, right? Yeah. So that's another issue, or throat cancers or things like that. And that's your voice. So the thing that I like to do with clients that come is to get them to do those vowel sounds with the solfeggio frequencies. I used to do it with the C scale on the piano, and then I realized I could do it with the Holy Harmony tuning forks, the solfeggio frequencies as well. So starting with and ooh and oh and ah at the heart. Even if you just want to do a ah, that's the nice one. You know?
Ah.
Nice AH. That is the best. And it doesn't even really matter if you're hitting the right, tone or frequency, but those vowel sounds, so it's AH and then the E, the AYEI, and then Om. And the Om, of course, reroutes right back down, right? So it's the Om. So then you're doing the whole little chorus. All right.
And you can find, as an aside, get a guitar, get a violin, get a piano, something that can tone, and just play. When I was 29 years old, going through a major clearing out, Spirit said, get a guitar. Well, I used to play guitars, but I played it the way technically, or I'd learn songs or whatever. This totally changed into feeling. It started coming out of me, the songs, the music, right?
Yeah.
But I would sit, and literally it was so weird. I put my chin on the guitar, the body, and I'd find a note that would vibrate my skull.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Then I'd put my teeth on it, which is weird, right?
Wow,
But that's really
weird.
You put your teeth right on the body of the guitar, and you'd find a note that would just feel so pleasurable in your head.
It's true.
It was dissolving you. So find your tone. Yeah. Guitar is good for doing that.
Yeah.
And just hold it over your solar plexus and go, what tickles you? Like literally goes, oh, that feels good.
Yeah.
That's in the pleasure, you'll find your healing. You
Yeah,
know,
your
the
treasure.
toning. Yeah. I know the pleasure is the treasure. Exactly. You find your treasure.
I know all your words. So, yeah, so make a joyful noise unto the Lord, right?
Yeah.
That's something that stuck with me from because I went to Sunday school and all that. And so a lot of things stuck with me in my mind, you know. And
Mm,
one thing was keep your robes clean for the day of my return. I was like, why does Jesus want me to do my laundry? Like, why is he obsessed with laundry? And it took me a while to understand it's my clothes, it's my spiritual clothing, right?
mm.
So it's keeping these subtle bodies and this physical body at a high frequency.
And
So,
you can imagine the chakra says 0 point black and white holes. Imagine, so
mhm.
it's coming into the front of your belly here. It
Yeah,
looks kind of like, you can say a trumpet, but it's a cone or
yeah.
whatever.
Hmm.
And then there's a cone on the back. Now, some people teach you can reach in there and clean the cone if you can
Sure.
feel it. You can
Yeah.
clean it this way.
Hmm.
But when a spring is polluted, you can't drink from it, right?
Right.
So we've gotten all these injunctions in it. And the full spectrum human will this flow in and out, in, out, in, out.
Yeah.
And then we literally become, sometimes you'll see artists do it. They're just doing it, right?
Yeah.
Watch Steven
When they
Tyler.
sing.
Yeah. I watched Steven Tyler do it once when they were recording one of their albums. They did a
Yeah,
movie of it.
I
And he
love
was
him.
writing
Yeah.
Annie Get Your Gun or something. He's sitting at the keyboard and he starts undulating like this.
Yeah. Hmm.
His eyes go really big. They're not black pupils. He's not evil. He's not
No.
reptilian. Settle down, folks. Of course, he's a reptilian, but he's not evil. And look at him. Anyway, look
Yeah.
at those
La, la,
lips.
la.
But right? Or Michael Jackson, but he's more like an alien. He's kind of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
He was outstanding.
where's
Wow.
that from?
That guy. Yeah.
But so that movement is it wants to flow. The spring, when it flows, everyone can drink from it. When it's polluted and mucky and growing
Stagnant.
back,
It's still like at Nazca when we went to the spiral wells.
okay,
We came out of the hotel and there was this sort of serpentine creek
water,
water,
water.
yeah, that the ancients had made it in
They
this
make it
way so that it
exactly.
would stay fresh, you know,
That's
and it was
right.
still rolling, right? And then you
Yeah.
could look at the bottom of these spiral wells, it was still going, and they were almost like chakras down, you know, you could just see
Yes.
and imagine the water being higher in ancient times and it just being so beautiful because it could have been swirling with the way
Yes.
it was flowing, right? So it was just making me nuts. I just loved it. And then we were walking back to the hotel, and there was a reservoir of water in a cement rectangular holding pond. And I could just feel the difference between this running ancient zigzag path of water and this modern still water in the holding cement.
They had the exact same thing at Ollantaytambo where I went. I never made it to the Nazca Plains. All those waterworks, they would
Yeah.
make the channel go like this and then aerate it perfectly. So
Yeah.
the thing that we're doing for us to reopen our spiral fountain so everything
Yeah.
flows, that's what we're talking about. Because we've been so polluted with fear, terror, drama, trauma, and karma. We
And,
think,
and unawareness.
yeah.
And once you understand that there is an information path, there's things happening at each point. And if you can be conscious of what those things are, then you're going to be more successful at making your cup overflow, right? And having those oils moving. And again, like I'm stealing all Jade's lines now. She talks about a cup of tea. And unless your cup is full and spilled onto the saucer, you have nothing to give because you only give from your saucer.
Mm,
So you don't give from an empty or half full cup.
yeah.
So it's your sacred responsibility, because to be a good human, it's your responsibility to other humans to mind your own vibration and make sure that you're flowing
Right.
and
That's it.
rerouting new concepts for other people. That's your only gig.
And you don't have to. That's why Babaji sits, Yogananda's Param Guru, sits in the Himalayas and overflows. Because that's a huge service. And that's what the masters are trying to get me to. Won't you shut up, Tobias, and just start being? Because that'll be more
Hold
help.
space. It will. And all those, think about all those guys that meditate constantly up in the Himalayas, and they do it for all of us, right? Holding that space.
Yeah.
And so then the throat, that response, that first phase of manifestation, creates an insight. So then your third eye, which is another input center.
In my case, people have lately been saying, Tobias, you're not allowed to tend unless you wear your muzzle.
Oh.
totally true.
Whatever it takes, Tobias.
I
Use
know.
all your tools.
I fucking hate that, but it's part of the deal. Anyway,
Muzzle up, muzzle up.
or then my master showed me a big bib like a baby. They go, shut up.
Shut up. Shut up.
I'll get up play with you.
Oh, I love it. It's funny. Muzzle up, muzzle tough, muzzle tough, muzzle tough. Okay, so are you ready for some insight? Or are you still laughing? I better pour some more tea.
I got a 74 on my report card last week from the Masters. I was C+.
74, eh?
I'm doing good in this particular issue, believe it or not.
Not bad.
Have fun with it. We all got shit. We're all walking each other home. You know, I love that feeling.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So then the insight, we're moving on. The insight hits you in the forehead, and hopefully you figure out what it's all about at that point. You know, you'll be able to see inside. You know, you'll be able to see the whole thing at that point, and you will have a lesson. You will have garnered some knowledge or something, you know.
I think I'm so literally dizzy nowadays because they're fucking hammering on my insight center with chisels and hammers. I'm like,
yeah, for sure. I felt the other day my whole face was getting rearranged.
oh, my whole skull is this whole week.
Oh, my friend in England's having a skull problem too. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's all rearranging.
By the way, that's all normal, guys. If you're going through an energy upgrade, if you're remodeling a house, there's some fucking dust.
Yeah.
It's tearing down of old walls and old wood. So when we're rebuilding our house, our temple, of course you're going to go, what's this thing growing in my ear for 2 days? The size of a pea.
You know, it's funny you would say that. Yeah, because I had this thing in my ear for so long and in my neck, and I was like, and it would go in my eye. And people would say, what aren't you hearing? You know, what aren't you hearing? Well, I was hearing that I had to put my dog down, and I didn't want to hear it. Yeah. I didn't want to hear it. And now that I've faced that challenge and I freed her and I freed me, it's not there. And that's been going on for a long time.
Let's feel it for a minute, everyone who listens to this.
Yeah.
How can we know the flow is happier. When this beautiful Kundalini flow Beata is sharing with us that goes in and out of our body, undulating beautifully. It's like waving in the wafting Kundalini breezes, right? Yeah. We know that's easier for us. Where am I ready to let go of that holding on, clamping down resistance? Where am I? And not to judge ourselves. No. We're all doing it, or you wouldn't be here. You'd be dissolved into a wheel of light.
But to be aware where it is. Like, where is it?
But can we, just get a little seed in us right now. Okay. If I relax more, it gets better. Yeah. Whether it's, we just had Miley that we took to the vet. Of course we're crying, you know. Yeah, it's huge for our hearts. Yeah. Allow the heart cleanse, the sadness, the grief, or even the rage that comes up at times, or whatever it is. What if I can allow the way nature purges? Here's a rainstorm. You know how nice it feels after that? Yeah. Can I have a little storm? Instead of trying to hold it all together and not even sweat, because I'm a lady, I would never even sweat. Right? Right? You know what I mean? True. And a lot of women have done that so much.
I don't want snot to come out of my nose, so I can't cry. Exactly. And I'm putting on all this makeup, so I can't cry.
I know. God bless you guys. I know it's been different for men. We do it differently, and it's not easy right now. So we're going to be, when you wake up from Rip Van Winkle sleep for 50,000, 300,000 years, you're going to be a little jerky and, you're going to be a little crazy. That's okay.
Yeah. And like I always say, like it's just as hard to be heard for the first time as to feel for the first time. So
to speak. Or to listen, or either way,
Yeah, and so the complementary nature of the masculine and the feminine is what you're bringing together in your own being, and then hopefully, that's really. I don't like this thing where there's, no such thing as a man, no such thing as a woman, because to me there is, and they're complementary beings. And I'm not, that people can have their ideas about what gender they are or whatever, but ultimately, and the foundation of this is that there's a man and a woman and they are complementary. I am not physically as strong as a man. That's just a fact. I mean, some women are, because they're big and strong and they work out, and some little scrawny man, she'd be stronger than him. But what I'm talking about is just general. And to me, it's a complementary thing. It's a beautiful thing. And it's not, there's no problem with it. Like we've been told so much that, oh, this oppressor victim thing has kind of gone overboard.
Yeah.
Because me as a woman, like when I traveled to the Middle East and when I traveled, down to Peru and other places and stuff, and India, coming back here, I got it pretty good. I got it pretty good here. So I don't really see a problem. Like, I'm a homeowner. I got a nice job. I can do whatever I want. I can drive. I can buy stuff. I can get a bank loan. I can go back to school. Like, really. Yeah. Women have way more rights than men. Way more rights. That's how I feel right now. Like, just looking at my son and watching him trying to get along in the world and encountering the new women and how that works. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think men got a bad rap because they are trying to be, in my mind, I like having somebody open a door for me. Like, I find that respectful. I don't take offense at that at all. I like somebody treating me not like it's not like men think I'm incapable. I take it like they're trying to serve me. They're trying to be defer to me. Yeah. Like, I don't take it like an insult. Yeah. I take it like they're being respectful to me, that they're deferring to me. And that's something that I think a lot of women crave, and they don't really want to say that, because they want a man that treats them like a queen, but they're not acting like queens. So I don't know.
We're learning, ultimately, maybe as souls, we're not male, female. We choose.
No, yes.
But inside the game of duality of male, female, if you try to do a spiritual bypass around it, it screws up the way the play was meant to be, which is male, female, sun, space.
Yeah. Well, it's in nature. You can look at nature, and that's how it works, right? Yeah. So we just like to put all this intellectualization on it because we don't come to the spiritual. So everything is always in the mental body in our society and in our culture. It hasn't accessed the heart. But I really believe that this is the time that it's going to happen, because people are so hungry and so tired of anxiety and depression and hopelessness and nihilism, that I really believe, especially the new kids that are coming up, are just going to, crave the real deal. And
there's a sweet spot there where it feels sweet. And then there's evolution. And however that shows up, love leads the way. And it's so understandable that the feminine, from being oppressed the last 6,000 years of patriarchy, that they're going to be super angry and sit and go, Trump, you're a fucktard at the State of Union, no matter what he says.
It doesn't matter. They have an opinion.
I understand the anger, but if you end up in anger, revenge mode, it's just going to be more of the same. There was a book I came across 25 years ago. It's called When God Was a Woman.
Oh, yeah. I read it a long time ago.
And she was intellectual at a university, but she was just pointing out the old matriarchal societies, which were the Levites, the Jews, were a reaction to. And there was remnant of was Cleopatra or Jezebel or whatever. They were in charge as goddesses. But that went bad too. Everything seems to go kind of the end of the civilization. When they're bathing in young men's blood and sperm, that's not that exciting, cutting their heads off and sacrificing them. No. You could see why there would be a reaction into the super Orthodox Levites of the Jews, where we own it, the women are chattel, we have slaves, but that's been the last 6,000 years. So that needs to be undone. But if you want to step out of, I own you, and now I own you, I'm in charge, now I'm in charge, you got to do Buddha, you got to do Jesus, you got to do the middle way.
The middle way, exactly.
And enjoy it. So it's not that there isn't cause, but if you want to do the revenge game, you'll be stuck in it forever. A friend of mine just came back from doing 3 weeks of ayahuasca ceremonies, and he said, she was just showing me how you can play in death and revenge, but that's where you'll be stuck until you choose the eternal life, the middle way, beyond duality, beyond polarity. Then it all becomes play and enjoyment. I think that's male and female is a pretty, whoever invented that game, some people are cursing it at this point because it's so difficult if their ego is involved.
Yeah.
And also we all know that when the female and the male, in whatever shape, form, men, women, men, whatever, that's fine. But if the feminine and male principle are joining, coming back together, that's one of the most blissful things ever.
It's complementary.
Yes. You're feeding each other. That's
Mm-hmm.
where you get the concept of soulmates and all that, and that can get twisted up. But yeah, I hear you. It's a huge topic, obviously, right now, and it's playing out. But if you want to be a full spectrum human, learning to let this flow come in and out of you and know that it's going to suck at times to clean up your basement.
And it is the basement that needs the most cleaning, frankly.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who you are as a soul, too.
True.
Some souls are really clean, really good with the earth. They naturally manifest things, but they're terrified of their own intellect. And you border on racism here, or speciesism almost. But we're not all the same. A dachshund is not a Clydesdale.
No.
Humans are not all the same. We have upper chakra spirits and first three chakra spirits.
Well, vibrational levels of consciousness. There's 7 different vibrational levels of consciousness as far as Dr. Robert Monroe is talking about. And think about that. So if you're vibrating at a low human, then we're talking about, so I always say the animal is the belly, the human then is the solar plexus. So you can shapeshift. So if you're vibrating at a low human consciousness, that you need to do that if you want to shapeshift to animal consciousness. So you say, she's such an animal, she's vibrating really low. Or you want to vibrate higher, closer to the heart, So
Hopi and Navajo Reservation still goes on every day, skinwalkers.
There you go.
We went out to Prophecy Rock once, and Bertram, Tsava, you need to have a guide now, if to make sure they're there just to protect the land in certain places. So when we go out to Prophecy Rock or Dawaki or the Blue Canyon or whatever, he's taking me places he shouldn't take me to, of course, but he gets so excited to share it, so I just go along with it. But anyway, we were at Prophecy Rock one time, and with a group. I don't usually take big groups. We had a big group of Spanish people, about 20 people. As we walked up, there was a picnic table here, or a table, with a sacrificed coyote.
Wow.
Split open, used for black magic stuff. And I tuned into it right away. So, and Sava him and I just looked at each other and said, okay. And we just sort of shielded the group from seeing that, because they're still in that place of, we're going to see the prophecy of the Hopis. You know what I mean? Which is true.
Yeah.
But the skinwalker black magic shit still goes on big time. Right? And in a way you could say, and this is spiritually incorrect for me to say, but so what? If you read The Return of the Bird Tribes by Ken Carey.
I did, yes.
Did you? Yeah. He talks about how before anyone landed on Plymouth Rock or whatever, the bird tribes receded into another dimension, just like I've interacted with those here in the Superstition Mountains, right here in Phoenix, right down there. We actually communicated with them, me and my friend, years ago, and done it since too. They receded, the Hohokam receded when they knew the Spanish were coming into another dimension. They literally walked into the wall of the Superstition Mountains. There's reports. The Spanish were meticulous analysts, keeping track of everything. But the ones left behind that couldn't go with them because they weren't pure enough. So many of the natives today, if you go on reservations, there's a lot of drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, right? You can say, we did it to them. Well, they weren't able to go with their tribe. They weren't ready to go. Just like there's many that couldn't follow Jesus or Baba or Buddha. We weren't ready. So it's not any pejorative against them or anything like that. We're trying to rebuild the traditions and so forth. But anyway, so the darkness of the black arts gets left behind. Whether it's ayahuasca or Hopi or whatever, African witch doctor stuff is some of the most hardcore stuff on the planet. So don't be naive about it.
Well, I'm just grateful to ayahuasca because I had a memory of a vision I had during one of the ceremonies, and it really helped me let go of my dog. And it was the butterfly that only lived for 5 beats of its own wings. And it was a weird looking, leathery, weird winged butterfly. It wasn't from this planet. And after 5 beats of its wings, it expired. And then this little angel or spirit came out, and she looked at me and said, you see, even for this life, I am curious. And so it was like, oh, there's an angel inside my little dog. Even for this life, I am curious. So I'm releasing her. And she was 105. I think I might have said that. It still stuns me when I actually did her age, 15 years in dog years. So why am I wanting to keep her? She needs to go. And it seems like with dogs, unless you terminate the contract, they will stay, because God and dog, unconditional love, right? So I have to make the choice to release her.
I know. It's amazing. I kept asking Miley. She'd lay with me and get up and get laid on. You ready to go, sweetheart? It's okay, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And finally, it was just, we have to help her do it. You know?
Yeah, you do. And that's an insight that you get, because that's where we are in the knowing. And I knew, you know, and that was my sacred responsibility and my last act of love. And I'm not going to cry.
I hear you.
So
the full spectrum human, we will know what's right and wrong. We'll be beyond the knowledge of good and evil, instead of being programmed what it should look like, or we should keep millions of people alive in rest homes in North America, just because that's what loving kids do, even though they're gone of Alzheimer's or whatever. You know, it's like zombie housing. Come on, get real. And then we wonder why when first people would arrive to ayahuasca ceremony, so they go, oh, look at all these cute chickens and guinea pigs. And I'm like, yeah, wait till lunch tomorrow, you know? But the shamans wouldn't.
Oh, the guinea pig thing, dude. I mean, I freaked out. I freaked out. We were in the car and we drove past the restaurant, you know, with the plastic one waving at you and the lady with them on the sticks. And I was like, what?
Guinea pigs.
And the driver was like, oh yeah, guinea pigs are not our friends. And I'm like, but they are. They are our friends. Just like I never would have thought.
You guys want to go? Yeah, see, puede?
No, not bueno.
We ate them in the jungle.
Oh.
And everybody's like, you know, you watch the spiritual. I'm not picking on New Age. Everything has its place, but that over love and light thing is not balanced. You know, I'm realizing now. One of our friends, one of Joy's friends, really was a Schäfer, which means shepherd, German shepherd in English. She was dying. She's had her husband died, her son died, her daughter totally. We talk about wake-up calls. Her first golden retriever, the boy's son, and now all she's got left, and she's dying. Oh my goodness. And she finally went to the butcher, she's just at the local grocery store, and the butcher says, you know what? Let me tell you what I did. You just get some beef liver. I had my pit bull was dying, and I just fed him this pure beef liver. He's totally back. She does that to her German shepherd. No vet. The vet said, no, this is complicated, drugs and all this stuff. Raw beef liver that she actually cooks a little with some butter. The butcher showed her how. In a week, she's gained 5 pounds back. She's eating again. You know what I mean? So all this programming. Of course, Yogananda is a vegan or vegetarian. They eat chickens and ghee, not chickens, but eggs and ghee, unfertilized eggs and so forth. So there's a balance to it. There's somehow the middle road. Thank you, Buddha. And
isn't there that story about the Dalai Lama going somewhere, China or somewhere, and they prepared him a meal with meat?
That's right.
And he ate it.
Yes.
Because he wasn't going to diss them, you know?
That's even more important. I love my story of my friend Keith, who years ago, he's living in Boston. He was the first acupuncturist in Boston, in America, right? And he thought he was going to get arrested for being an acupuncturist back then. And
never know.
In Cambridge, Massachusetts, and his first client was the chief of police of Cambridge. That's how the universe set it up. And the chief of police said, no, this is helping me. Nobody's shutting you down.
Nobody's shutting you down.
That's
it's
right.
always good to get the law on your side. I can
move my body again, you know. And but I loved what I was going to tell you about. So he in Boston, he had friends that were from the Italian part of Boston, right? Italian grandma cooks all afternoon, all day, 6 hours. There's some pork sausage in the mix. And he's like, but I'm a vegetarian. And Spirit's in his ear going, you eat that soup
right now.
That sauce, because she spent 6 hours pouring her love into that. You got no problem with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Realizing, not that we should, of course.
That's an insight.
That's the insights. Bigger than the knowledge of good and evil. You evil.
Exactly.
No.
Ego is down here, right? I can't eat that meat. I can't eat that meat.
Love is greater than truth.
Yes, baby.
Of course, we shouldn't eat and kill animals. And of course, ultimately, Yogananda doesn't do that, but he can be a vegetarian and he's still fat and round because he eats the food you know not of. But until you can do that, if you're an Eskimo, you're not going to survive on papaya fruit. You need whale blubber.
You need the blubber.
You need the pure fat.
I'm telling you, it's so cold here. You don't even want to know how cold it is here.
Was it 30 below Celsius? More?
It was 38. It was 42 the other morning.
God.
I
That's
think
Celsius,
this afternoon,
folks.
it warmed up to 27. I don't say minus, okay.
It
warmed up to 27, and then Monday it's going to go up to 21, and that's going to be balmy. People are going to be in shorts.
Some of your Canadians are down here in Phoenix area, or because it's 50 degrees here yesterday, and they're walking around in shorts and no tops. They're going swimming.
Let's go. What are you waiting for?
We're like here with our jackets.
I know. And then my poor friend in England, he's like, well, I've only had minus 17. I'm in Celsius. We're in Celsius. Minus 17. I'm like, minus 17? But you have to remember in England, it's so wet.
Yes, it's true.
So wet. I got so cold down there. Anyway.
Love is bigger than truth. I like that one. And that's where it's transcendent, beyond the knowledge of good and evil. The peace beyond understanding. And on the way there, we have to clean out our old imprints of this is good, this is bad, you hurt me, I have to hurt you back, all that.
Yeah.
And this system does that automatically, what you talk about, this undulating. Finally, we get the insight, aha.
The aha, the I see moment. And again, that's another input center. So belly, heart, and third eye. So if you're in a place where, you're getting anxious, cover your third eye. Or if you're talking to someone and you don't want to share energy with them, here's another trick. Don't maintain eye contact. Just look at them right here.
That's what I do all the time.
Yeah. Because
I did that naturally as a kid. I'd go, I don't want to hear from you. I'd look right here.
Yeah, because you're exchanging energy otherwise. And I know for people that are sensitive, like myself, and pick up information quickly, it's easier to have a conversation with someone and look here, or else we get invested in, their energy. And then it's like we can get too much information. But it helps with anxiety, so I always say that's not disrespectful because nobody really knows. They can't tell. If you're looking here, they're not.
It's funny you said that. Naturally, as a young man, I would do that.
Wow.
I just go, I don't want to look in their eyes. And I would just.
Because you could feel how intense looking in somebody's eyes is.
Well, it was stuff I didn't want to feel,
Exactly. I know. I know. I'm a little Dr. Spock, Mr. Spock, not Dr. Spock. I'm not a baby spanker. I'm like a Vulcan. I don't want to feel anything, but you have to. You have to walk through it. So, and then
it's a new thing. I've never heard of it before, Beata.
Yeah.
Of that, the Kundalini, not only traditionally looking frontward, that the two Ida and Pingala go around like that, but that it comes, I'd say up the root chakra, right, and then out, and then into this. It
kind of hits your tailbone, and that spins it forward. But come up and hit your tailbone and spin it forward.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it hits the coccyx, and
that makes sense.
Hits it forward.
And then it goes in and out of your body like a nice undulation. Yep. And I got it too. That light, that energy that's coming up is informing. You understand? Each chakra gives.
It's the information path.
Here's what you need. Here's what you need. You're going to collate it this way.
Yep.
So it touches all the 7 centers. There's more, I understand.
Yeah.
And it gives you the full spectrum human information instead of blocked or only functioning on 3 cylinders. Yeah, beautiful. I love that. Yeah. So there should do some kind of, I'm going to play with feeling and allowing it to do that movement and what that feels like during my meditations. Because I've never done it that way. I've sort of pictured, all I did was I would breathe in and I do a big circle, like the full breath, circle breath like that. I would breathe in, have it go up in my head. down to the
Down.
tailbone, around the front, and up, and then out the mouth. So it's like a full sort of circle like that.
I
But this
understand.
one is going to be out, in, out, in. That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
beautiful.
fun. It's soothing too, right? And again, it's activating and not activating, but you're becoming more conscious. So you're getting to know those parts of you that you don't really think about, you know, and understanding how that sews your subtle bodies to your physical body, because you live in your subtle body. Like you're not really in your physical body. I mean, we perceive ourselves as being here usually. You know, if somebody said, "Where are you in your body?" Well, I'm kind of in my head, you know. But really, you are in your field, the healthy auric field. That's how I think about it anyway, you know. And so that's why you can dream and go to sleep and come back, and the body is just like on autopilot. Kind of, right? If you have your silver cord, you're still connected. Then all those you know, reptilian brain functions are still going, and you can come back.
That's right. I'm going to start a new meditation class. It's called undulation meditation.
Nice, good, lovely. Yes.
And my dirty angels are suggesting all kinds of subtitles, but that's okay. Hey, baby, you want to undulate with me? Yeah,
That's
stuff
right.
like that. Stop
like
that now. That's enough.
Stop it. So the final, are you ready for the final? The crown? So
I'm trying not to blow my head off.
Don't blow your head. Did you put the sheet down like I said? No? Oh, geez. Yeah. So the head, so after it comes out, you know, and it comes into your third eye there, then we have, see how it has two spouts coming out, right? So there actually is two snakes happening here. Mm-hmm. Okay. So like, you know, those little electrical balls from the science show, and they have the plasma, you know, they're like a little Tesla ball. Right. I wrote a blog about it called Twin Serpents Are You at tinfoilhatlady.com, but I put my finger on it, and then I was able to pull it apart, and I realized that each of those plasmas is two. Uh-huh. Yes. So it is two. It is two serpents, right? So they've come out, but we're just teaching it sideways. Yeah. But you can still think about it that way. But really, there's two chords here. I gotcha. And we're rerouting after. So that's, to me, your holy grail. That's the holy grail. Being able to let that cup overflow, and the tree of life, all the branches, you know, they're fully open, and then rerouting. Like, as sometimes when trees, I don't know if you've seen those type of trees, when they get so full and they touch the ground, and then shoots come off and more trees come off these roots, you know. It's a beautiful natural. Yeah, the banyan trees, or the tree in Avatar, or that's why we love weeping willows too. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was shown, and that's what I'm hopefully putting out here soon. The one full conscious breath, and what I'm calling it at the URL is the tree of life breath. Nice. The tree of life breath, and what that was shown was this. It's a torus. Yes. We made a graphic finally where we use a tree as a background. We use the Da Vinci Vitruvian man. Yeah. And it loads the chakras, and then it comes up and it goes back and it feeds itself. That's the graphic that my friend in England has been working on. Beautiful. I think it's done now. So at some point when I get the go ahead here, we're going to offer it to the world. And what you do is you're just going to sit and watch it while you do the breath. Beautiful. And so that it imbibes itself, imprints into you. So, because me talking about it, but when you see this visual doing it, you go, oh, yeah, I get that, because it's such an ancient archetype of the tree of life. Yes. Which is our final column. And the Jewish tree of life, it's called something else. I have another image of it down there, but I think it's the same thing. Yeah. You know, again, always the healthy auric field. It's flattened. Of course, it's a pillar. Yes. It's got multiple points. But in the Jewish Sephiroth, I don't know what it's. This is the 10 Sephiroth, but it's the Kabbalistic tree of life. Okay. I guess, right. Okay. And the Das being the center that, you know, is you, that is sort of like, you know, you got to find it kind of thing, because it's not really there. But anyways, that's another thing. And for us dumb Swedes, it's the Christmas tree. It's the Christmas tree. And the thing about this whole chakra lighting up, I have this vision and this dream that I would like to take this into schools, because
Yeah.
I think that it would help children's behavior and focus, and even the teachers. If, when they go to the auditorium and everybody has assembly, there's always somebody at the piano. And I just envision getting the kids to do these vowel sound tones and just an inhale, exhale on the sound with the C scale, and have like an image of a human body with the empty 7 chakra balls. And then every time they do a vowel sound, it would start to fill up with red on middle C. And we do, oh, and we fill up that ball. Oh, we fill it up more. Oh, and then we go up, ooh, ooh. And then, they power it up for learning.
Nice.
And then everybody would be so balanced and aligned, and they'd have a really good day teaching. I would love to do a study on how it would affect, a school to actually do it. Not to call it chakras, not to call it anything like that. Just that we're going to make this vowel sound, and we're going to fill up these colored balls, and it's a rainbow, and we're going to power up for learning.
Yeah.
And just 3 inhalations and exhalations on the vowel sound per chakra. And I think it could make a big change in a school day.
Would you be available to do that?
I would love to do that.
Some forward-thinking administrator, teacher somewhere.
Yeah, I would love to. I've got like this whole thing written out, and even a resource center based on chakras, like a round room. So if somebody is having discipline problems, they get to go to this room where you don't even use their name. They can pick a new name, and they come in here, and there's just like, see, I went to Montessori school, and what it was is that we had different centers that you could learn at. You would contract with the teacher on Monday for what work you're going to get done by Friday, but then you could just go wherever. And they had all these learning centers. And so you could play in the post office. You could, play with the art over here. You could, build something over here. And everybody kind of self-sorted into their interests. So, yeah, that's a school program that I developed a couple of years ago, and I just didn't know what to do with it. But I just really feel that simple thing, and it wouldn't even take long for them to go through 3 breaths per chakra with, the C scale. Wow. I'd love to just do a study on it, because I think, you wouldn't need all that Ritalin, And then the teachers themselves having to deal with these overloaded classes and everything, right?
The universe is listening. Do you want me to put in a good word for you?
Please, because that would be a lovely legacy. I'd just like to see if, how it would go over.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So there's some person out there that's in the educational field that, they got their master's degree and all that, because that could partner with you, because they need that for it to be able to,
Yeah, I know.
Although maybe not locally, but if we're on a bigger scale.
Yeah, bigger scale. Yeah, I would just love it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Anyway, we'll put that out there, okay?
Drop the seed in the wishing well. I wish you well on that one.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's, so we got through it all. That's
beautiful. No, I love that. So, do you want people to contact you? You want to work with people?
Sure. If people want to contact me, they can email me at tinfoilhatlady@gmail.com. They can look me up on YouTube, youtube.com/tinfoilhatlady, and my main portal at tinfoilhatlady.com, of course.
I met you, or heard of you, or noticed you, I don't know, it must have been 10 years ago or something.
Oh, yeah.
With that Tinfoil Hat Lady lecture you did.
Oh, the subversive lecture of Tinfoil Hat Lady. Yes. Do you want to see my tinfoil hat? It's still here. It's still here. Look.
What a great cover.
Nobody would know.
Great cover.
So, yeah, and that was my satire show about 9/11. 27 minutes of pure educational.
I laughed so much. I loved it. Your humor was, it was like early on undoing the ridiculous conspiracies.
It was 2007.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
YouTube, I didn't know what YouTube was. I said, I'm going to put this on YouTube. I performed it once. I had a guy with a really good camera videotape it. I prayed. That was the first show I ever did that I prayed before. I was so afraid. I had my head in a corner before they were announcing me, and I'm just like, oh gosh. And I went out there and I remembered all my lines. There's a couple of things that happened that were unexpected if you watch the show, but sometimes I just watch it and make myself laugh because I'm so disconnected from it now. I can look at her like, it's not me, right?
Yeah. Anyway, I loved finding you doing that, and that because sometimes we feel alone, like people get stuck in super yoga becomes a religionism, or super Buddhism. There's Buddha over here, or super Shiva, whatever. And I'm like, come on, we got to get bigger than us. So I enjoyed you doing your spoofing of obviously ridiculousness in a very beautiful artistic way, instead of preaching and ranting and railing at it like David Icke or something. That's his real job. He's got that job, but it's not. We need to do it all our way. So
well, and see, I had learned from David Icke and, guys like Alex Jones and, the people that were just yelling,
Right.
And I thought nobody's going to listen to this, but if I do it in a satirical way with a character that you can take or leave.
I loved her. She was my auntie. She was my grandma in Sweden when I was a kid.
I know.
She was perfect Germanic mix, northern Minnesota, Scandinavian. Perfect. And at the end of it, she should have been like serving cookies. I don't know if you did, but that was
oh man, I should have. No, I was pretty exhausted after that. Actually, I got to tell you.
If you ever do it again, you should have like 20 trays of some super cookies, Polish and Danish and German, and go.
I should have came back out and threw some sausage instead of my hat. I actually came
for
back
cookies,
and I threw my hat into the audience. Some poor person got a whole whack of sweat on them from that.
Thank you so much. We're being loose and funny and playful here. The new model is just be real. The new authenticity is what? Authenticity. Okay, let's try it,
Yeah, the Get Real to Heal, which I didn't wear it today, but I do have your bunny hug, Get Real to Heal.
I was going to post a line on Facebook today, Co. I don't do marketing.
Well, you should, because you got good stuff.
I do offerings.
Yeah, I love your T-shirts. They're great.
Yeah, thank you.
But I say bunny hug. It's a hoodie. See, in Saskatchewan, we say bunny hug, but a hooded sweatshirt or hoodie, I guess.
Got it. Yeah. Well, love you. Thank you so much for playing with me today and being here. And what I'm going to do is we'll put it up on YouTube.
Okay, sure.
And you do whatever, and you put it on your channel, or I think this, if you know how to do it, you can just download mine off of YouTube, just the way it is. But if you want to put your own little graphics on it, whatever. But I'll put the ones you send to me, I'll put them on there.
Yeah, I will. I'll do that right away.
Yeah. Well, I think that was good. I think it was fine.
I think we did great.
I think I can connect. One thing I love doing is listening to someone, feeling what you've created or your insight, and then I get to piggyback onto it and feel.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was actually really fun and very stressless. No stress.
I'm going to get more and more ridiculous, anyway. Playful.
You're fine. You're doing great.
It's going to get more off the wall, I can tell. So I'm going to do seminars where I just do ridiculous shit, I can tell.
That's good. I look
forward
to that.
Gab? Is Daddy gonna lose it? He knows when it's over. She just goes,
"Hey, it's time. It's time."
Daddy, you've been doing this long enough. You need to do something with me now. Let me show your face. There's your face.
Oh, we'll end with dog love. Perfect. Ooh, kisses.